Hello and welcome to the Word Around Town, episode 21. I'm Steve Jamrok with Realty Executives Premier, and it's my goal with this podcast to keep you updated and educated on what's going on in the real estate world, along with the events and happenings that impact our Northwest Indiana communities. I'm a lifelong resident of the region, and for the last 23 years, I've been helping home buyers and sellers across Northwest Indiana achieve their real estate goals. So I like to keep this podcast as interactive as possible. If you have any questions or about any of our communities, events, happenings, what it's like to live here, or how to buy or sell a house in Northwest Indiana, well, I'm here to help. You can leave your questions or comments down below, or you can go ahead and click the link that I have for you in the comments to schedule your own personal one-on-one call with me at your convenience. All right, in this week's episode, it's a new month, so I have a market update for you, and we'll look into where home values are in some of our communities. Interest rates. It's been a very interesting week for interest rates. I'll tell you where they're currently at and what we can possibly expect moving forward. And then with spring right around the corner, many of you are looking to tackle those home improvement projects. Maybe you're thinking about getting your house ready to sell, or you're just have those projects that you put off for a while. Well, I have the top 10 home remodel projects that will give you the greatest return on your investment. I'll let you know what those are. And then there's a big partnership that just happened in real estate between two major real estate players. I'll tell you who they are, what that is, and what it means for you, the consumer. And we can't let a week go by without talking about the Chicago Bears potentially moving to Indiana. I'll let you know where they stand. Plus, new developments, restaurants, and fun events happening throughout the region. All right. Kicking it off with real estate. Again, a new month, March of 2026. The first 2 months of 2026 have been steady. We've seen some homes fly off the market. You know, I've seen some properties that have gone off the market in a couple hours, a couple days, and there's properties that are still sitting there for a month or two. It still really depends on the buyer, still being very selective, very patient in their choice. But when they do see a home that they like, in a location that they like, a property that's been well maintained and priced correctly, they move quickly. The issue still is inventory. We are still lagging on inventory, looking at our multiple listing service every day. When we have only 20 to 30 listings come out a day, it's a little rough for as many home buyers are actively looking right now. So again, well-maintained properties, priced correctly, those are moving quickly. If you are looking to sell your house, there's still not a lot of competition from home sellers out there, but it's still a lot of demand. But the house has to be priced correctly and has to be in a condition home buyers are currently looking for right now. Now, home prices are still elevated throughout the majority of our communities. And with that said, home buyers are actually kind of shifting to how they're financing properties to help alleviate that affordability a little bit. And home buyers are currently shifting a lot of them back to an FHA mortgage. Now, over the last couple years, when interest rates were really, really low and homes were flying off the market, home buyers shied away from the FHA mortgage. It just didn't make sense to go FHA when you get a conventional loan at such a low rate. And many home sellers at the time were overlooking FHA offers. There's always been a stigma with FHA offers that it meant a weaker buyer, or more repairs were going to be necessary, or just overall more of a hassle. Well, the reality today, guys, is that FHA loans are actually closing on a similar timeline as conventional loans. Appraisers have also said that they're not getting as strict as guidance from FHA, as well as things to look for in property. So repairs haven't been as excessive as they have in the past. And also, most buyers using FHA loans today are very well qualified. They're just looking to use a lower down payment and get a lower interest rate, because a lot of times FHA is offering a lower rate right now, so that they have more cash on hand to cover out-of-pocket expenses. So don't overlook an FHA loan right now. There's a large pool of buyers out there that are moving towards an FHA loan. So if you're thinking about selling your house this spring, it's all about preparation, making sure that your house is properly prepared and marketed so that you can go ahead and hit that largest pool of potential buyers out there. So if you have any questions on how to get your house ready to sell FHA, you can go ahead and leave those in the comments below or go ahead and reach out to me directly. And again, if you're a home buyer, curious if FHA is the way to go, definitely reach out to me. I'll put you in contact with some of my great lender partners there that we can kind of discuss and guide you in that right direction. All right, on to the median sales prices of some of our communities here. And again, reminder, this is only for the first 2 months of 2026, so it's a very small sample size so far. It's also for only single-family detached homes, since that makes up the majority of the sales. That's why I include those. But over in Crown Point, and this is from January 1st, 2026 to February 28th of this year, Crown Point has a median sales price currently of $374,000. St. John has a median sales price of $515,000. Whereas Winfield, which is a little community just east of Crown Point, but still part of the Crown Point school system, Winfield is seeing a median sales price of $415,000. A lot of new construction happening right now in Winfield. Over in Munster, they checked in with a median sales price of $375,000. Cedar Lake has a median sales price of $331,000. And here's the one that jumped out at me. Lowell, for the first 2 months of the year, has a median sales price of $359,000. That's in Lowell, Indiana. Dyer, they had a median sales price of $350,000. Cherville saw a median sales price of $442,000. Chesterton was at $355,000. And Valparaiso, now this consists of all of Valparaiso, not just Center Township. This is Valparaiso had a median sales price of $391,000. So again, small sample size, but overall, home values are still strong throughout the region. Buyer demand is there, but again, you're going to want to make sure that your houses are well maintained. Don't necessarily need to be updated throughout, but if you have that 30-year-old furnace and 20-year-old water heater, or your roof is 30 years old, yeah, you're probably going to want to look into replacing those items if you're looking for top dollar. Same thing, if you have that pink bathroom from 1950, if you're looking for top dollar, you're going to want to do some updates to the property. And again, any questions about what you should or shouldn't update prior to listing your house, definitely reach out. I'll be happy to do a consultation with you and walk through to discuss what makes sense and what doesn't within your goals. Because again, it depends on your situation, guys. I'm not telling everybody that they should update their property just to sell quickly. It really depends on your goals and what you're trying to achieve. And that just comes with a one-on-one consultation whenever you're ready to get that property up and onto the market. All right. Speaking of selling your house and home buyers in the market, interest rates. Interest rates have been very interesting. That's kind of funny. Very interesting over the last week. We finally saw interest rates end last week under 6%. They were at 5.98 on average. Now, again, remember when I'm talking about these numbers, these are averages. Interest rates are very unique and specific to your situation, so everybody will be different. But on average, we did see interest rates drop below 6%. That was really exciting, great news. Now, did home buyers just start going crazy, scooping up properties left and right? No. But it was really positive news to have to see that interest rates were under 6%. Then all of a sudden, the Middle East erupts, erupts into a conflict. And as usual, when markets sense uncertainty, things tend to go up. And interest rates did rise back up. I talked to a lender, a partner today. He's currently seeing rates right around 6.05 to 6.13% on average. So not horrible. The good thing is rates really have been steady, even with this bump since the Iran conflict exploded. We haven't seen the huge roller coasters that we saw last year where they were at 7%, then down to 6.7, then back up to 7, then down to 6.5, 6.8, so on and so forth. It's been a lot easier for home buyers to budget and plan ahead as interest rates have been making smaller moves, slower moves here over the first part of 2026. And also talking to that lender partner, what can we expect from the next couple months as far as interest rates go? And he kind of predicted the same thing, even with things happening in the Middle East right now. It doesn't expect major swings. They could go up a little bit more. Most likely they're going to come back down again. But nothing major. Is going to be just kind of a steady flow up a little bit, down a little bit as we move forward into 2026. So we'll keep watching it closely. Again, if things expand or get worse in the Middle East, that could change. But overall, I do believe that we should probably stay steady. Again, real estate market in particular doesn't like uncertainty. So longer things draw out over there in the Middle East, we could see rates go a little bit higher. Again, the quicker things resolve themselves there, I think the quicker that we'll get back into those rates coming down below 6%. All right. Spring market is right around the corner. And if those rates do come back down, like I said, we have a lot of buyer demand out there that's just waiting for the right property to come on the market, which means many of you are going to go ahead and start doing home improvement projects or wondering what home improvement projects you should do prior to listing your house. Well, like I said before, everybody's situation is unique, and it really depends on what your goals are. But if you are thinking about doing some home improvement projects, these are the top 10 home improvement projects that will give you the biggest return on your investment. This is from a 2025 remodeling impact report. It's conducted by the National Association of Realtors and the National Association of Remodeling Industry. So these have the highest estimated cost of return on your investment. So putting in a new steel front door typically returns about 100% of your investment. So again, curb appeal, putting on replacing an old wooden door with a new steel door, especially one that's painted nowadays with a color that makes it stand out and pop from the curb, really can enhance your curb appeal and the value of your property. Closet renovation. Renovating your closet will typically bring you about 83% of your investment back. A lot of people are wanting closets that are organized and structured these days, whether it's walk-in or just a slider where you have kind of a California closet look, or shelving, everything neat and organized in one area. A new fiberglass front door would bring you about an 80% return on your investment. So again, fiberglass versus steel. I think I'm just going to go ahead and fork over a little bit more for that steel door and recoup 100% of my investment. But anyway, a new fiberglass door would be 80%. New vinyl windows. These will bring you back about 74% of your investment. And wood windows are about 71%. Really depending upon the property, I think, on a higher price point, people might want to see wooden windows over vinyl windows. But I think just having new windows and being able to sell that as energy efficient items, especially with our energy rates going sky high here recently, those would be big selling points for home buyers as seeing new windows on a property. Converting your basement to a living area. That's typically bringing a 71% return on your investment. Now, keep in mind, you have a lot of people that are finishing basements and then they're going to go ahead and they're going to put a bedroom down there as well, thinking that's going to improve their home value. And it will if you do it right. If you are going to put a bedroom in your finished basement, you're going to need to make sure that it's up to code, meaning you have to have an egress window in there. And you can't just put a little basement window in there and call that an egress window. It has to be a certified egress window that's up to code. Check with your local building departments there before you do that. But you can improve your home value without a doubt by adding that egress window and an additional bedroom in your finished basement. If you're going to convert your attic into living space. Typically, it brings back about 67% of the investment. Now, remember, a few weeks ago, I talked about the new appraisal rules that are coming out called the ANSI rules, where they have to go ahead and measure homes a specific way, all in unison. So if you're going to do an attic conversion or an over-the-garage conversion and you have sloped ceilings, remember, at least 50% of that space needs to have ceilings that are at least 7 feet high. If not, they're not going to count that as a finished room. They'll note it in the appraisal, but they're not going to count that as a finished living space. So again, if you have any questions about that, I know that one's kind of tricky. Definitely reach out to me. I'll be glad to discuss that a little bit more detail with you. All right, kitchen renovations. Everybody loves a kitchen. They are so beautiful when they're done right. Great marketing pieces, but doing a complete renovation doesn't bring back as much as you think. It only brings you back about 60% on your investment. Definitely makes the house much more marketable, but if you're dropping, 50 grand in your kitchen, you're probably only going to get back about 30 grand on that remodel. A minor kitchen upgrade brings about the same as a major renovation there as well. Again, kitchen remodels are more for marketing purposes. And then a bathroom addition will only bring you about 56% of your return on your investment back. But those are the top 10 home improvement projects that bring the biggest return on your investment. Staying in real estate, we are going to talk about a major partnership that formed here recently between two big players in the real estate world. And I'm not really sure that this partnership is really going to be good for the consumer in the long run. But Compass and Redfin are teaming up together to market Compass's off-market properties. So, Compass recently merged with Anywhere Real Estate, which includes Coldwell Banker, Better Homes and Gardens, a few of the other very large real estate franchisees throughout the nation. It made them the largest brokerage in the United States. Might be worldwide too. I'd have to check on that. I don't have that information. I'm sorry. But at least in the United States, they are the biggest brokerage out there. Partnering with Redfin, which recently merged with Rocket Corporation, which is the mortgage corporation, you have two very large conglomerates partnering together. Now, the purpose of this is Compass, for a long time now, has been fighting a battle. They want to be able to control what they do with their listings without adhering to a lot of local multiple listing service rules. They want to be able to give the seller their choice to market the property their own way, which that part makes sense. But by teaming up with Redfin, it's giving them an option to be able to, another public portal, I should say, to market those listings to the public. Now, here's the thing. This is really a pushback at Zillow. So Zillow kind of went to Compass and said, hey, look, if you're not going to share your listings with us, we're not going to put any of your listings on our platform. All right. So Zillow is saying, we need your listings to, that's how Zillow makes their living, by sharing listings on their portal. But if you're going to have any listings off of Zillow, then none of your listings are going to show up. And there's actually a current lawsuit between Compass and Zillow. They're fighting that out in litigation right now. So Compass made a strategic move to partner with Redfin, who has one of the big, I can't remember where they're at as far as if they have the biggest or third biggest real estate portal out there as far as viewership goes. But this gives Compass the option to go ahead and tell their sellers, hey, we're going to put you out there on the Compass site, but we're also going to go ahead and put you out there on Redfin. It's also a marketing tool for them to help attract realtors to their brokerage, because they can go ahead now and sell leads from, give leads from Redfin to their agents. All right. So, you're thinking about, you have your real estate license, you're thinking about what brokerage I can go to. Well, Compass now can say, hey, I have leads coming in from our private listings over here on Redfin that I can go ahead and give to you. Now, some of the thoughts about why Compass is doing this, one of them is really legit. The others, I still think that they're just trying to create their own pocket listings, to not create, just keep control of their pocket listings. But excuse me. They're saying to the consumer that, number one, when you list to all the portals, you're giving all the information out there from days on market, price reductions, and then home price estimates like your Zestimates that are detrimental. Oh, excuse me. I got to get a drink real quick. Oh, excuse me. All right. So when a home seller puts their information out to all the real estate portals, you're seeing all the information like days on market, price reductions, and those estimates. And that is actually hurting home sellers, according to Compass. Now, I agree 100% on, well, maybe not 100%, but I agree pretty strongly on this estimate. I would love to see that thing go away. But I know that consumers like it, because every time that I go on a listing appointment or I talk to somebody about their property value or I'm helping a home buyer, they're always pulling it up going, oh, well, it says right here, this estimate, it should be this. So I get it. I get removing that estimate off there because it really doesn't show a true or accurate valuation of any property on the market. But the days on market and the price reduction, that really just that's what's happening in the market. So by withholding that information and holding it back, it's really not painting a true picture of what's happening in the market from a home buyer or home seller's perspective. It kind of gives you false information. The other big issue I have with this is not giving all the information to home buyers and consumers of what's available out there. We made big strides here in real estate over the last year and a half with transparency. It seems like that's been a big buzzword in our industry over the last year and a half. And now we're kind of taking a step back with this because we're going to tell consumers out there that, well, why didn't you show me this property? Or why wasn't this property available? Well, it was off market or it was over here on this website. And now, the multiple listing service came into effect to kind of put all the properties out there for all consumers to see what's available. Kind of gave an even playing field for home buyers out there. This is kind of going back to before our multiple listing service where you'd have to go around to brokerages and get a listing book and see what was available and, make sure that those brokerages were actually putting everything in there that they had available and weren't holding anything back. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. So, you can go on a website and say, okay, hey, I'm looking at homes in Crown Point. I'd like to see these homes here. But then you say, oh, wait, I forgot. Now there's these private homes over on this website. Now I got to go jump over here. And it just becomes really confusing, especially for the consumer. And as tech savvy as people are becoming today, I don't think anybody really wants to go to 2, 3, 4, 5 different sites to make sure that they didn't miss anything out there. So I think that part's taking a step back, and I think that's going to be detrimental to the consumer in the long run. We'll see how this plays out and where it shapes up. Again, I strongly believe that you as a home seller should have options, but I think we also should be transparent, not only to each other and the consumer, but to the market in general as well. And currently our multiple listing service here in Northwest Indiana, and many of them throughout the nation, do offer a delayed distribution where you can actually put your property on the market where it's advertised to realtors only, but not to the general public. So that way you can go ahead and kind of test the market, so to speak, without putting it out there. But at least it's showing to other realtors so that we can go ahead and show it to our home buyers of what is actually available, as opposed to just keeping it hidden on these private sites for their agents only. Now, my other issue here is sorry, I lost my train of thought here. The other issue is controlling your information. And this has always been big to me. And I guess here in the age of AI, I guess we're getting away from privacy quicker and quicker. But when you have these companies that are emerging like this, where you have these companies that have their own mortgage company, their own title company, their own everything within the real estate transaction, again, their goal is to have your information from step 1 through step 30 through and beyond. They have your information that, they can turn around and sell it if they want, but they can market you from the time that you step on their site through closing and beyond. They can go ahead and reach out for refinances or hey, whatever the case is, they have your information, they control that information. And to me, maybe it's just the Gen X in me, but just having more and more of my information out there and controlled by one entity is bothersome. So this, again, will be a very interesting case study to see how this plays out going forward. I don't think it's very good for the consumer, just for the fact that, again, we're getting away from the transparency and that valuable information that they want control of so that they continue to market through to you. I think that is a problem as well. So again, that's the Compass Redfin merger moving forward. Questions about that, again, definitely leave them in the comments here, and I'll be glad to give you updates as this progresses. All right. Excuse me, man. I don't know what's going on in my voice today. Around Northwest Indiana. Quick Bears update for you. Last week, there was a lot of news coming out here as Indiana passed their stadium funding bill. It came through the House of Representatives with a small tweak, went back to the Senate, passed overwhelmingly in both of those, and then went to the governor and was signed into place. So basically that means there's a stadium funding bill in place for the Chicago Bears to move to Hammond and the Wolf Lake location if they want to. So basically, Indiana is open for business, ready to go. Now, it's obvious the Bears want to give Illinois every opportunity to make something happen because they have that site in Arlington Heights. I've said it from the get-go. They prefer to stay in Illinois. It is most likely they will end up in Illinois, but Illinois just keeps shooting themselves in the foot politically, which is not uncommon for Illinois. So while Indiana is moving forward as everything in place, Illinois finally got together and put the parameters together for what's called a pilot program, a payment in lieu of taxes for the Chicago Bears. This would allow them to have a little bit of tax certainty, which is what they've been looking for. They'll build the stadium themselves, but they want to make sure that they understand the taxes, property taxes they'll be paying, and they also want infrastructure in place paid for by the state of Illinois. So this pilot program went before a committee, came out, passed the committee, but it has not gone before the Illinois General Assembly yet. They went ahead and went on break until March 18th. So once this bill came out of committee, they didn't have enough time to get it before the House, and the House went on break until March 18th. So we'll probably not have any kind of resolution until at least March 18th. But from my understanding from the Illinois side, this is far from done. Even though some major progress has been made, there's still a lot of details to iron out. There's a lot of debate whether lawmakers are going to actually pass this property tax certainty, even though it came out of committee. Not everybody was on board with that. There's also a lot of talk about Chicago and the lawmakers from Chicago. They're losing the Bears. That's a big deal economically, but they also have Soldier Field that they don't have. What are they going to do with Soldier Field? They paid for renovations for the Bears to be there, and they still owe over $500 million on those renovations that were completed for the Chicago Bears. So I think Chicago lawmakers are saying, hey, don't forget about us. We want to be compensated some way for losing the Bears and what to do with these the debt on the stadium renovations. And then that also leads into the infrastructure around the Arlington Heights project. So the bill that came out of committee, again, was just for the property taxes, not for the infrastructure. So that still has to be passed as well. So there's still a lot of political fine-tuning and laws to be passed and debated in Illinois. And as we've learned through this process, Illinois doesn't work very quickly. We're also coming up on an election cycle where you have a governor who's still thinking about making a run for president. So that's still lingering over there as well. Be very interesting coming up here in the next couple of weeks to see where that goes. But right now, nothing new yet. Indiana's ready to go, open for business. Illinois still kind of kicking the can down the road, but feeling pretty confident that they're going to keep the Bears. So we'll keep you updated. Again, once in a generation, you got to take a shot. I still like that as a move to Indiana. All right, speaking of new developments, there's a new development coming to Crown Point called the Preserve Point. This is going to be located on the northwest corner of 141st and Grant. It's going to bring 473 new homes, new single-family homes. It's also going to include a section of paired cottage patio-style homes. I'm sorry, not paired, just patio cottage-style homes, single-family. But the interesting part here is that it's going to be for adult residents, 55 and over. It's going to be, I don't know of many 55 and older communities right now in Crown Point. So that's a very interesting concept that's going to be brought to our area. I know over in St. John, Gates of St. John, they have some 55 and over communities. Munster has some 55 and older communities as well. But it's something that's needed in the area. So I'm excited to see the new development and new homes that we so sorely need here in the area, especially when you get into the patio maintenance freestyle homes. We're still lacking there as a lot of our community starts to age out of their existing homes. But I still would love to see entry-level homes get built in our communities. I know it's going to be a tough sell, but that would be so great to help with not only affordability, but with inventory and demand, and to get some of our first-time home buyers into new homes. It's a tough sell. It's going to take a while, but I would love to see some new entry-level homes get built in our communities. All right, over in Winfield, in Lakes of Four Seasons. This one's interesting. I wanted to bring this one up here because back in my high school days, spent a lot of time in Lakes of Four Seasons, and I was a victim of getting pulled over by their security force quite often for going too fast through the Lakes of Four Seasons. So Lakes of Four Seasons, it's a gated community east of Crown Point. It's part of the Crown Point school systems and Crown Point mailing address. But they have their own security force. And for years, actually, since it was developed, that security force enforced traffic violations within the community. So if you were speeding in there, they had the right to pull you over, give you a traffic ticket, and then you paid it to their community. Well, a few years ago, there was a lawsuit filed that questioned the validity of that traffic enforcement from these security professionals. I really never heard what happened with that lawsuit, but it appears that it has been settled one way or another, and that the Lakes of Four Seasons Security Force can now go back to enforcing traffic violations within the community of the Lakes of Four Seasons. So again, if you live in the Lakes of Four Seasons, you haven't heard that yet, or if you're visiting anybody out there, make sure that you understand that those security guards will be enforcing the speed limit again throughout the community of Lakes of Four Seasons. And again, if you're listening to this and looking for a great community to live in in Northwest Indiana, I definitely check out Lakes of the Four Seasons. It's an affordable community right now. It offers an 18-hole golf course, 4 recreational lakes, a clubhouse, a pool, a restaurant on site. It's a golf cart community, which is kind of cool. Everybody has golf carts. They drive them around. They have live music during the summer. A lot of great community events. So if you're looking for a gated, secure community with its own security and housing is fairly affordable compared on average to Northwest Indiana communities, you might want to check out what Lakes of Four Seasons has to offer. I'll go ahead and include a link to the Lakes of Four Seasons website that you could check out and see. And if you have any questions about what's available in Lakes of Four Seasons, I would be happy to answer those for you. All right, one of my favorite coffee shops is moving to a new location in downtown Valparaiso. Fluid Coffee Roasters is moving to a bigger location to 74 Lincoln Way, which is basically across the street from where they currently are right now. Again, Fluid remains one of my favorite coffee shops. The coffee's good, and just it's a great little vibe in there when you go in and hang out in Fluid. They have locations in Valparaiso, Chesterton, Michigan City, and of course right here in Crown Point as well. And again, there are so many good locally owned coffee shops in Northwest Indiana. We're starting to get inundated with corporate shops. Nothing against Dutch Brothers or Seven Brew, which just opened here in Crown Point, and some other locations in Northwest Indiana are getting ready to open as well. But don't forget the local guys. They really do a great job. Steam Whistle, Sip, Cafe Fresco, just to name a few. They really brew some great coffee, and they're part of our local community. So get out there, check those out. And in many times, I think the coffee's a little bit better at these local shops here because they're not inundated with the sugary drinks or the sugary add-ons to the coffee. All right, also opening in Valparaiso. This is also exciting to me in my Polish blood, but a new Polish deli called Polish Eats is opening at 704 Silhavi Road. They're going to feature all your favorite Polish dishes, your pierogis, kielbasa, you name it, it's going to be there, along with a market and grocery in there as well, so you can go ahead and grab some takeout items to go. And baseball season is right around the corner here in Northwest Indiana. Well, actually, throughout the United States as well. I know a lot of colleges have kicked off their seasons already. But there is a new type of baseball team coming to Northwest Indiana for this summer, and it's going to be called the Northwest Indiana Fun Balls, and it's coming to Oil City Stadium in Whiting. Think of this as your local Savannah Bananas. Now, while more details are coming out, they plan on doing entertainment and putting on a show like the Savannah Bananas do. Now, I'm a baseball purist. I'm not a big fan of Savannah Bananas. I just don't get it. I'm not afraid to admit that, but I know they are huge. I remember last summer I was actually in Savannah for a day, and you couldn't turn the corner, turn your head any way you looked. There was Savannah Banana gear everywhere. I know a lot of people that enjoy them. They do a great job. And I think the NWI Fun Balls it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. They plan on putting on an experience, an entertainment experience, putting on a show. I think they're going to join forces with some of the other teams in the area. I think Chicago has one called the Snowballs as well. As this kind of entertainment brand of baseball continues to grow, the NWI Fun Balls out of Whiting are joining the fun. So make sure I'll keep you posted as their schedule, etc., comes out. And if you're looking for something fun to do, something different and unique, the NWI Fun Balls in Whiting should be a fun time for this year's baseball season. All right. Over to what's happening this weekend here and coming up in Northwest Indiana. I really love this time of year because the weather starts warming up a little bit. We start coming out of our hibernation, and you see more and more people get out there, and it starts kicking off the outdoor events that happen throughout Northwest Indiana. And I really love our spring, summer, and fall events here in the region. And it kicks off with one of my favorite events right here in Crown Point, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's on St. Patrick's Day on March 17th here in Crown Point. It's a nighttime glow parade. It starts on South Main Street, comes up around the square at dark. All the floats, cars, people in the parade are glow sticks or lights, green lights. It's such a great time. It goes on with some other great events with the corned beef and cabbage through the city and at the fire department. It's an all-day fun event on St. Patrick's Day here in Crown Point. You need to come check it out. Such a great time, especially if the weather is nice. It's a full day party here in Crown Point. So you definitely don't want to miss that. If you've never checked it out, get out and check out the St. Patrick's Day Parade here in Crown Point. And then looking way ahead into the summer, but I want to mention this because tickets go on sale here this weekend, and you're going to sell out quickly, so you're going to want to get on it. But there's two major artists that are coming to our local fairs this summer at the Porter County Fair and the Lake County Fair. And Porter County Fair has always had some awesome acts. I remember not long ago that Lainey Wilson was at the Porter County Fair before her career exploded here. And now Lake County, last year was the first year that they had brought in a big act. And now they're repeating that again this year by bringing in Lee Brice for the Lake County Fair this year. And over in Porter County, they have Bailey Zimmerman coming in. So two huge country stars coming to our region. Tickets for Lee Brice go on sale March 6th, and tickets for Bailey Zimmerman go on sale March 7th. And again, they should move fast. You're going to want to jump on those. All right. Also on March 6th here happening in the region, the Northwest Indiana Symphony is putting on a show at Living Hope Church in Maryville. And American English, a tribute to the Beatles, is back at the Center for Performing Arts in Munster. And Hard Rock Northern Indiana features Marlon Wayans, bringing his comedy show there on the 6th. And then Without You Two, a tribute to you two, they'll be at the Hobart Art Theater on March 6th. And if you want to do something a little bit different and catch a really, really fun show, Something Rotten. It's a hysterical musical comedy located at the Valpo Memorial Opera House, and that is going to be running this weekend and next weekend through March 15th. Again, check it out. The Memorial Opera House in Valpo is a really cool place to see a show, and get out, do something different, experience a little bit of a musical, hear from some of the local actors here in the region. And then starting March 7th, it's maple syrup time here in the region. You can go out to both Shellberg Farm in Porter and Deep River County Park in Hobart to experience fresh homemade maple syrup from the trees there. It's a cool experience if you've never checked it out. Get out there, and it should be a warm weekend. If the weather holds out and the rain holds out, it's going to be nice to be into the 60s this weekend. So, all right. Overall, that's what's happening throughout Northwest Indiana. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, any questions, leave them below. Reach out to me. Always happy to help. And remember, while you're there, hit that subscribe button. Stay notified of all the upcoming episodes that I put out here. Thanks for watching, guys.